Hello and good morning. It's pretty early here. I've been gone for a while. My computer got hacked up there in Montana. I've been busy with things, but I have to keep moving on my tool making. And I'll show you what I'm doing right now. Now this is a good source of carbide. These inserts, you see, in the standard heavy-duty cutoff type insert blades there. Okay, so in the vise here of the Cincinnati number 2 tool and cutter grinder, that's 83 years old. And I'm not here to teach you how to grind tools. I just show you how I do it. And that's the most important thing to me. Okay, here we go. I'm going to fire this up. That's a diamond cup wheel. So I've got that insert. Let me pull this back a little bit. In what's called an insert vise. See that? Like a little tool maker's vise. Tighten it here. So I got that insert in there. And it's a worn out insert, of course. And I probably got 100 of these from over the years of using them. Worn out ones. I keep my old carbide because, see, I can rework it here pretty easily. Okay, I got the vacuum going. And so I start feeding in. And we'll grind the side of it. Now the sides aren't even on these because they have clearances. So by the time I grind them flat, there we go, we're touching. Take about 2 thousandths at a time. I got a vacuum there that effectively catches the dust. Okay. I think you can see that the gold coating is just about gone there. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of let it grind a little bit there. Get a nice finish on it. Okay, take that off, vacuum, we'll pull that out. See? Okay, so we'll walk around here. Hope you're all doing well. And I've been a little bit busy here. Let me straighten this up here. Got this, I made a dozen boring bores here. Mainly for the jig bore. And I'm gonna discuss some of that. But these short ones here are using brazing on those inserts. Here's one here that's ground on both sides, I believe. I ground that one. Here's more to grind. So I got a dozen boring bores here. And these here will be for the standard head. And I'm going to make a whole bunch more, so don't worry about it. And down here are some specialty ones. Like these here, I use some carbide blanks I have. But it's kind of hard to have a whole bunch of carbide blanks on hand. And you've seen in an earlier video how I forge these over, take and heat them up and smack them in the vise, so I can get that carbide on center with this 1/2-inch shank here, okay? All fresh ground there. Okay, now these are the little ones here that have these inserts that have ground. You can see how thin they are. So they're thick enough I can still add a couple of degrees to back rate on these. And these are specifically for, here's one here I'm starting to shape, the Wallhopter UK4 head, which is an amazing piece of equipment. So the way this thing works is totally different from any other head. The tool holder remains parallel no matter what angle you set it at. And it's got ways. You can see the V-way on the bottom. And if you look on the end here, you can see the V-way for that cross axis. So this thing will feed straight down. It'll feed at an angle or any angle in between that 90 degrees. So if it's in between angles, it combines the feeds. This thing here is just unreal. It must have been made for a military purpose, I believe. So you have to have specially shaped tools. If you're cutting at an angle and the tool remains level, you have to shape the tool for it. And this is why you don't see this head demonstrated anywhere, because you have to make the tools for it. Standard boring tools, you can only do a couple, 3 operations. But if you're going to cut at an angle, it's a bit of a problem. So here's a tool that I'm shaping, and then these other ones are yet to be shaped. You can see it's just the insert's just brazed on there. Okay, that's what I'm up to, and I will be back with more on that. Okay, I will rehash a few things about boring bars in a lathe versus the jig boring machine. Okay, I'll get this in the tripod here if I can. And let's see if I can't get it so you can see everything. Hopefully that'll be okay. So I've got a little granite plate sitting here, and I got that one boring bar for the UK4 head there. And I've got this set on the center, and this is how I center the carbide, okay? Now, if it's taller, what I can do is use another one of these. Let me set that there. And I've got another. These are old antique Lufkin, as is the V-block, and they're just great. This is a Lufkin junior type indicator, I would call it. So I can pull that from behind to the tip and see on the scale right here if it's exactly on center. All right. So if it's above, and I can see how far it is above, then I can return it to the tool and cutter grinder and cut the face of it and lower the carbide. And plus at that time, I'll introduce a couple of top angles for it. Now, what happens with the jig borer milling machine? Here's a standard square head. These are just dynamite, in my opinion. But you know, they don't, to reduce offset in the jig borer when I'm using this, I build a cutter like this. See that? And that'll slip in there. This is for a specific purpose on old Harley Davidson's engine cases. So the only movement of the head is feeding it, you know, back and forth. There's no adjustment for center. So when you bring this to exact center in the milling machine or jig bore, and I've showed how to do that, and I better show how to do it again, and it's not for lazy people, but it's just another step or two. So once you have that on center, then all your angles come into play. And like cheap boring bars, you'll see it on videos, and you do what you have to do, right, to make stuff work. And cheap boring bars aren't exactly on center, what I'm showing here. You have to buy something like Micro 100 or Criterion boring bars, and you're going to be paying 4 times more because they're on center, okay? So once this is on center, and I've ground back angles into that, well, this one actually, I offset it in that, if I level it like that, you can see I just cut straight across lower, and then you rotate it up to center, then it's got that back angles in it, and this angle too, when I had it in a dividing head and made this. I should go through making some of these. Well, the reason to do this is because a jig bore, you can run it really fast, and you want to reduce that offset because it throws it out of balance. Okay? Now, let's get to the difference with a lathe that makes things much easier. Is you got the adjustment of up and down, and plus you can rotate the bar and you know, find center with it. And I find center using a height gauge off the front flat way there. So I bring the tip on center, then I go, well, I want a little more angle, so I can just rotate it a little bit, you know, to the degree of your front clearance anyway. So you have a lot more flexibility. So on a jig bore or milling machine, you don't have that flexibility. If you want a little more back rake, you're going to have to grind it in because you can't move it off center. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I'm making the smaller bars, and I got some 3/8 drill rod here. Happens to be oil hardening, but this is non-hardened rod, but it's precision ground. So it'll be the right size for the boring heads anyway. So it's really easy to make the tools, and I'm going to make one here with a little bit. I'm going to leave a lump here, then skinny it down, and then I'll grind it over there on the belt grinder to shape. So I'll cut it a little bit here. Some wax lube handy. Okay, we'll check this out. Go ahead and lock it down. Make sure this thing hasn't slipped or anything. It's antique Inco. Let's see, where are we here? Let me adjust it up where you can see it. I don't know if that's right in the glare or what. Hopefully not. Looks like it's running true. That's a good chuck. It's made in Germany, front lever operated chuck, sold by Inco, probably in the 1980s, 70s, 60s. See, it runs nearly dead true. Even at the end here. I like to check stuff out here. I like this stuff running true because it saves a lot of time no matter what you're doing. That's about 1/1000, but that's drill rod. Not totally straight. Get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to get this going. Make sure it's locked in. I think there's a little too much sticking out. Okay, that's full speed. 1127. I get this adjusted. Okay, what am I hanging up on? Hanging up on a ratchet. There we go. Can you see it? Okay, I'm just going to start digging it in. I bumped the camera quite a bit, didn't get it quite out of the way. There we go, that's about right. Dig it in a little bit more. I kind of got an idea on the tools I need to make. Get that right there. Just a tiny bit more. I'm just hand feeding it here. Okay, that's how I shape these things. All right, so I'll go over to the grinder here in a minute and start shaping one of these. Okay, I did a demo with this belt grinder, this little Vevor 1x30 inch, and it's a great companion to the cutter grinder here. So I'm going to start shaping that, okay? Kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. And I do wear gloves doing this, and I'm careful not to stick my finger that way. Okay, here we go. Probably do it short from this side. You see, that thing grinds fast, see? I'm right about center there. So it's going to be a right-hand tool, so I'm going to grind that edge away. I'd grind the other edge if it was a left-hand tool. These are 60 grit Norton ceramic belts, and I think there's somebody selling box of 50 for 33 bucks, and that's cheaper than anybody's got them. Okay, you see I ground that away. I'll grind the bottom a little bit. Get on this side. You see, this thing just it's totally amazing for this size work. It's actually a lot more convenient than a larger size grinder. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, see, I got a little bit of a, it's poking over this way, and that land's pretty wide, so I can shorten it. See? Now I'll just braze a piece of carbide on that and have it hang over. Okay, I'll be back with another video, and I'll be grinding on these, and I've been practicing brazing, and it took a while before I got good enough again, because not doing it for a long time, to do small tools like this. Okay, we'll be back. Have a good day.